Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Scots on the Run podcast, where we take a behind-the-scenes look at what's happening in the Gordon College cross-country and track and field programs. In this episode, we're recapping the Silfen Invitational at Connecticut College. Senior Captain Allison Subat is with us as well, but first, as always, Coach Miela, how's it going?
Good. Like you and I were talking about, it's a long weekend going up and back to Connecticut. I should say down and back to Connecticut in back-to-back days. But I was walking out of the office on Saturday night, and I was just saying to myself, even when I'm super exhausted, I love this job, man. It's always fun. We got a good group, and a week from Saturday is our conference meet, so pretty exciting.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Allison. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
So you've been on a roll with your 4x1 team. This is the third week in a row that you've broken the school record in that event, so tell us how your meet went.
Yeah, it was a good meet for me. We starting off, obviously, with the 4x1 and dropping quite a bit off of our time compared to the past couple of times. And so we were all really excited to race in better weather. Still not ideal, but definitely better weather. And so I was just excited about the way that the day went overall.
That was the strangest weather I've ever seen, because it would pour for 30 seconds, but stop before the track could get soaked or anything, and then it'd be fine for half an hour, and then it would come up with another pop-up.
Yeah.
Well, it was like that the entire afternoon.
And the wind was...
The wind was brutal.
Well, it'd be brutal for 15 minutes, and then it would feel like it would calm down for a bit. And so it really was... It felt like a luck of the draw with some of the sprint events if you were running into wind or whatever it was. So yeah, some of our sprinters, they were able to get some decent times, and some of them, they just... Yeah, like the women's 200... Like the men's 200... The men went first, right?
Yeah.
And... The wind wasn't that bad, and there were some decent times there. But the women's 200, every single person finished, and when they walked back, they were just like, man, the first 50 meters of that race, I felt like somebody was holding me back, essentially,
Yeah, you popped up, and it just felt like you were going absolutely nowhere. It was it was so brutal to get around that first, initially into the curve.
Now, did you feel, because of the angle of the wind, did you feel like there was any wind at your back coming down the backstretch?
No, I didn't feel it at all. It was it was literally just that initial drive right out of the blocks. And I think that was just it wasn't enough to feel it when you were on the straightaway, but it was enough to feel it when you were going sideways into it.
Yeah. Well, I could see because of the angle of the flag that was right behind you guys. It really did feel like how your angle is set up for the start of the 200 and the angle of the wind. It just felt like it was direct, like the exact opposite direction of where you're trying to run.
Yeah.
You also PR'd in the 100. And I was like, your PR is 14:10 going into it. You ran 14:09. We'll take it, man. How are you feeling coming down the stretch? I know you're going to race this weekend at MIT. Obviously, hopefully with some better weather. What do you think you could do?
I mean, ideally, I'd really love to go sub 14. That's been my goal for the past 2 years, and it's been frustrating to run if you look at my times other than the 100 at Tufts, my times are within 500ths of a second of each other. It's the range is 14 or 4:14 and then now to 4:09. And so it's just it's frustrating because it's some of the 100s that I run, it's right after a 400, and then you go and run a 100 and you still run within that range, and it's in some ways it's nice because the consistency is helpful, but in the other ways it's sometimes you just want to break that consistency and run what you want to run. So
well, you've got 3 races left if we count New England's, which we're hoping to run the 4x1 at New England's. And so and then you're going to run the Open 100 this weekend and the Open 100 at conference. How are you feeling coming towards the end of your career here?
I mean, there's some things that I'm excited for, some things that are, it's sad to see this, come to an end, because it's been such a big component of my time here at Gordon, but there's also, I feel it way more physically. Meet days hit me way harder than when they did freshman year, so I think my body is very ready to, not be at the same intensity, obviously still, moving and going for runs and, that type of thing, but not 24/7 feeling just putting the work in and being really intentional about training my body to run and sprint at this competitive level.
Sure. It is crazy how, at the college level, it is a time for some people, the tail end of their time in college versus their first few years in college. You start getting stronger, you start getting faster, and your ability to push your body to its limit, like you have a better ability to do that, which means at the end of every week, after you're done competing, you're a lot more tired because you've been training your body to hit that intensity over and over and over again. So yeah, I find that fascinating. That again, it's only been a matter of 4 years, but you could look back on where you were your freshman year and how like your output is just so much greater, so your body needs more time to recover. I'm curious. So as a senior, like I don't know, how have you seen the team evolve? By the way, were you here? Were you guys teammates for?
My last semester was your first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So
And you were running cross country back then.
Yeah. Not well.
Got the cross country.
I am
sweatshirt
wearing a
on
cross
right now.
country sweatshirt, but yeah, not well.
Well, that's the only. I guess that's the only reason why. Because if you had just done track, I would have been graduated by then.
That's
So
true.
yeah,
That's true. Yeah, that season was weird because that was the height of COVID.
Yes.
And so
It was just inter squad meets and
yes.
nothing else.
Which honestly, the inter squad meets were kind of fun because it was like we got broken up. The entire cross country team got broken up into smaller subgroups, and so like you were with that subgroup for the entire
Something
season.
like that. Yeah.
It was like, and so then it was every week instead of going to a meet, it was competing within the teams, which was kind of fun in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think there was like a blue team and a green team. And
I was part of the green team.
Yeah.
I remember.
I brought the whole costume out. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that. Nope. But yeah, no, that was. I think it is hard to like compare from like freshman year though to senior year
Sure.
because of COVID, because that changed team dynamics so much. Because the team was like one of the few groups that you could interact with without a mask on relatively consistently. Because even once like there was more restrictions in terms of not being able to go and visit other dorms and not even be able to visit within your own dorm, you were still able to meet with your teams and you were still able to interact with them relatively normal. So like the team was the most normal part of my freshman and even into sophomore year. And so it's been, but because of that, like we developed such strong almost like that family ties type of thing that carried over into my junior and senior year. And then it's been cool to watch as each of the freshman classes come in, kind of hold on to some aspect of that and carry it through, and to see how it still evolves as we move further and further away from COVID. So there's differences and things that we lose because there's not that same like connectiveness, but in some ways, but then there's also cool to watch is like there's a lot of intentionality in terms of staying connected and staying involved with one another.
Sure.
That is very different than a lot of other teams.
Yeah.
So
Looking back on your 4 years here, anything you would have done different?
I don't know. I think my freshman and sophomore year, I didn't stay as connected with the team in terms of, like, I was a lot more focused on making sure that I was involved in a lot of other aspects, so very much leaning into academics, very much leading into, once I was up at Levita, leaning into that Levita crew, leaning into my floor, and so I didn't take advantage of the team as much as I could have my freshman and sophomore year, and so, but then, like, I think especially last year, when it was, like, that was when, like, Amherst and I were really good friends, but then Amherst and I, like, really bonded last year when it was just the two of us sprinters, and so then that was like, okay, that's a recognition of the fact of we're going through this very unique experience together, and then continuing to build those really intentional bonds and those friendships. A lot of the girls that came in my freshman year kind of found other commitments as we went through college, but are still some of my closest friends. So it's like, while they're not on the team, I'm still really close with them and getting together with them. And that's just like, I don't know, it's something different that I was engaged, but not to the extent that I had hoped to be or could have been.
Sure.
In order to get the most out of being on a team.
Just building off what you were just talking about, there's a question I wanted to ask you when I knew you were going to be on the podcast. And I think it's because, and the reason why it's coming to mind is it's interesting to me that you said the first few years you didn't kind of, I guess, lean into the team or hang out with it, or however, as much as you do now. Because I came in that junior year, right? Like what you were talking about, like that was my first year here. And I want to ask you, people often referenced you as like the team mom, right? And so I am curious, do you like that? Are you annoyed by that? Do you take that as a compliment? I'm curious if how you feel about that.
I think it's a very natural part of who I am, where I very much care about the people around me and very much want to make sure that everyone else around me is thriving. And so with that, I mean, there's been people on the team that I've been on the team with my entire time that have always been people that I've watched out for, looked out for, are aware of their strengths and their weaknesses and decisions that they tend to make. Like, I mean, I always have extra snacks in my bag. I always have, like, ibuprofen.
Yeah, I mean, that's a
Tylenol.
mom thing to do, man.
But it was just one of those things where I think, like, initially, like, I always have food on me. So I have food in my school bag, too.
Sure.
Just because I like to be prepared, and especially because I tend to be running from thing to thing to thing. Even just this, running straight from class to here and then going to practice. Like, I'm always moving, and so having those snacks to make sure I can make it through those different commitments. And then it just kind of naturally started being one of those things where it's like people would ask me for food or were aware of the fact that I always had food on me. So then I was running out of my snacks because I was giving them to other people. And so I just started carrying more and more snacks.
Well, I'd like to say that I think people call you the team mom beyond just your ability to carry food and nutrition for people. But yeah, no, so yes, it's good that you carry those snacks with you. But I know since I've been here, and you and I have talked about how, one of your greatest strengths as a leader, as a captain on our team is empathy, is your ability to kind of feel what others feel and kind of sense that type of thing. And so, and I think that's also why people call you that, because you are somebody who I think people feel comforted by. And it's a reason why, I think your teammates wanted you to be their captain, right? So I know we usually wrap up and you ask me if there's anybody else who are like any highlights. And I have plenty of things that I want to highlight, but I think we should make sure we ask our guests who on the team do you think from this past weekend, what were some of the highlights that stand out to you?
Well, I mean, huge shout out to Emily who ran an Open 4 for the first time.
Yeah, first Open 4, yeah.
So that was really cool to watch.
Only been doing track. Emily Bankston's always been doing track for so she's you hand off to her in the 4x1. She's our anchor in the 4x1.
Yes. She's
a goalie. She's like all conference goalie on our women's soccer team. And so it's her first time doing track. She started in January, and so she's a school record holder in the 4x2, 4x1. Between her and then you actually had a great 4x4 leg, which we haven't talked about yet, but she's probably be our 4x4 as well. So
wait, so you did an Open 1, an Open 2, 4x1, and 4x4.
4x4.
Correct. Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Just about.
It's a busy day.
Just about, it is.
Yeah. And then we'll add on top of it pole vault.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
Because I haven't done all 5 in one meet yet.
It's a great way to go out, don't you think?
We're gonna have so much fun. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
But no. Kaylee running steeple.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That was huge.
And winning steeple.
She did win steeple.
Dude.
Yeah,
I totally forgot to mention that.
No, that we were talking. I had a really good conversation with her after she ran steeple, where she was just like, I feel like I thought I was like messing up because I was so far ahead of the other girls, and then she was like, she just decided to run her race like because she was like, well, clearly I'm just faster than these girls, so I'm just gonna run my race, and she ran out and like absolutely killed steeple.
Yeah.
And so that was cool because it was like we've seen her practicing steeple.
Yep.
And she's just been talking about it, and it was just like she was very excited to run it, looking forward to that.
Yep.
So to go and see her just absolutely crush that. I prayed with her before she ran. She was so nervous, but that was really cool.
That is cool.
It was really cool to see. I mean, Henry
broke the school record in the 200.
200.
It's pretty awesome.
I wish I could have seen throws a little bit more, because I wasn't able to go down.
Yeah, they did.
Throws.
They had a solid day. They went down. So they had discus on Friday, and then so some people. Actually, we had some PRs there and stuff. But
Carolyn had a PR on Friday, right?
Katrina. Oh wait, Carolyn
Day.
On Friday. Carolyn Day. Yeah, Carolyn Day in the 5K. She ran phenomenal, and I was really proud of her. No, I mean, races like Carolyn's is why I love coaching because, she ran great. She ran to the ability that I think myself and Coach Luco thought she could. And that's what's always fun as a coach is you do this for a while and you just know in your heart and your gut tells you that an athlete has this ability. But then the athlete themselves still needs to buy in and believe that that is possible. And so when they have that breakthrough moment, there's a different, you just see their face light up in a different way, even after being exhausted from a 5K. So those are the moments that we live for. I mean, that's why I love this job, because it doesn't matter if you are the elite of the elite or if you're, just trying to get better every day, which everybody on our team is, when you see your time, when you see your name associated with a time that you never thought it would be, that gratification is something that sticks with you, and that changes you as a person beyond your time in college, right? That you now recognize, oh, if I put the work in, that's a skill that can be transferred into anywhere we go in life, right? So yeah, Carolyn was one of those moments. It's like, this is why you coach, and hopefully, a really good championship meet is filled with those moments. So hopefully, in 2 weeks or a week from Saturday, we have a lot of those moments too.
So we've got MIT coming up this weekend.
Yep.
And
MIT
then,
just kind of sharpening things up, and then conference a week from. Well, actually, a conference. This might be released hopefully tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So by the time this is released, it'll be a week from when this is released. But we are hosting Steeplechase on Thursday to kick off our conference meet, and then day one we'll be down in Rhode Island. I guess technically it's day two, but Fuller meet starts on Friday afternoon, the 26th. We'll have long jump, hammer, and the prelims of the sprint hurdles, and then the full day is a week from Saturday. So the majority of people will go the week from Saturday, but there'll be a few events contested before that. So,
real quick, because I don't want to just completely forget to mention it, Rachel and Jesse were down at Bucknell this weekend, right? So
yep.
How did that go?
Yep. Rachel, last I checked, she was 26th in the nation with her 17:03 in the 5K. Again, that's like an 11-second PR for her. It was encouraging. It was a solid race from what Coach Luco tells me, but I think we all know she's probably got a little bit more left in tank, and she knows that too. So we're excited about, she's probably going to take a few more cracks at the 5K down the stretch here. And then Jesse, he PR'd, qualified for New England's in the 1500 running. I think he ran 4:01. He did not run in the Invitational heat, and it sounds like he kind of had to just go out and take his race. Nobody, got out a little bit more mild, so he had to go out and be aggressive to start. So hopefully he gets in a competitive 1500. I don't know if that's going to be conference or New England's or what, but yeah, we think he's got quite a few seconds to shave off as well. So cool. Thanks for being here, Allison.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
Right. And thank you all for listening, and we will see you next week to recap MIT.
Yeah.